right, happy. Happy. There you go. That's the beginning of the episode. Nothing like a little bit of last minute podcasting. Happy first episode of the new year. It's 2021 for those of you who've been living under a rock. Happy 2021. So how's my year going? Well, I sat down to start podcasting and I already have to take a shit, so we're going to make that worse. We're going to get into some endos here. Let's get this show started. Burning up already. Shit. Well, that's not bad. That's some decent drags. For now. But anyways. Still alive. Say last minute because I'm doing this the day that I normally put these out. So I'll probably be doing that already. Anyways, still working, still going strong. My body is actually doing quite a bit better than it has been before. I know one thing that I've been... Well, y'all know that I fucked up my back last summer. Which still seems like not that long ago. Because time flies whenever you're not having fun. And of course my ankle was all fucked up too. But that's getting pretty much better now. It's a little unstable still, but I mean with the brace on or with the wrap or whatever, it's fine. And I think one more visit to the chiropractor and I'll be able to start, doing like some running cardio again. Or I just got to get on the bike more too, probably. I don't know. I need to do more, which my old gym finally reopened some outdoor stuff in the parking garage across the alleyway. But it kind of sucks. And unfortunately, I have to actually go in if I want to, cancel my membership or whatever. So I got to do that. Because the truth is, like, I pretty much have everything I need here. I just need to, get better at my workout process and kind of figure that out. Because for the most part, I've been kind of moping around a little bit. But no more. No more. I'm trying to keep this from dying out on me. New Year's was pretty chill, especially compared to other years. My roommates and I, we basically just kind of sat down and we had some champagne, some apps and beer, and we ended up watching the movie Tenet, which I actually ended up liking. I could see how it was confusing, because I would imagine it's a difficult movie. I had to watch it twice to really truly figure out exactly what was going on, but that was really just because, there's other people and distractions and stuff like that. And I normally watch movies and stuff, or I normally watch everything with the subtitles on anymore, because, a lot of, like, if my attention wavers, even for, like, a little bit, I can sometimes miss words and stuff like that, or they just won't, like, imprint into my brain, and I'll lose them shortly after, but... So I get it. And I actually really like... What I really liked about the movie is that they take a lot of the, kind of like the origin story tropes that most movies do and just toss them out the window. Just skip it. They assume that you, the listener, kind of has your shit together, so to speak. Kind of can figure out what's going on. And speaking of which, if you haven't already figured it out, today is episode number 39 of the show. Going into our second year. It's not bad. Whatever, I'm having fun. Let's see, one more drag. Fuck, went out. So next up, of course, the easiest... I fucked that up already. most sure thing that you're going to see on this podcast, I guess, is another beer entry. It's beer time. This time from Tav Hour, we got an entry, a pick. The Listermannbrewingcompany. And this is Operation Flintlock Caramel Marshmellow Stout. As you can see, they got a nice picture of a big old tank rolling over some pieces of marshmallows and pieces of caramel. I've not had a beer with marshmallow in it. I'm assuming that it comes with a bit of lactose. Yep, right there, lactose. It was a stout brewed with coffee, vanilla, caramel, marshmallow, and lactose. 6%. Where are these guys from? Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio. Please recycle. Yeah. Well, let's see what this stuff looks like. Or tastes like, actually. So, pop it open. A little bit of ASMR for y'all. A lot of foam. So it's basically, it's a stout. It's stout, but it's a little bit sweeter. Whatever marshmallow there is kind of, it's low. So it doesn't really bother you that much. And of course, the next thing we gotta do is put this shit in my Valhalla Vineyards drinking horn. Oh yeah. Stouty. Nice and dark. Just what we expect. Wait for the foam to die down a little bit. Wow, it's very half and halfy. That's going to take a while. Yeah, that was all foam, but it's still good. So, yep, it's basically just it's a stout but sweeter, because I know stouts usually are like very heavily coffee flavored with a little bit of chocolate in there, and I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite. When it comes to beers, I'm normally more of a brown ale kind of guy, and which actually this is kind of what it reminds me of. It's like a mix between a stout and a brown ale. So, but yeah, there you go. If you ever get the chance to try it out, Listermann Brewing Inc. But you might not get a chance either, because I know a lot of what the pattern that I've noticed as I've been picking out my beers for the show, or well on the app whenever I pick them out, is a lot of breweries they'll do just like a lot of small limited runs, and I guess every once in a while if one of those does really well, then they'll kind of do it again. But then again, also the app that I'm using, Tav Hour, check it out for yourself. They don't pick like big breweries or like big lines to begin with anyway, so whatever they have, you're most likely not going to see again, which, for better or for worse, whatever. So you might not ever see this again, but you're seeing it now, and I'm putting it on YouTube and of course on the podcast channels if you're listening to audio forever. It's there forever. And I am also forever digitally. Very nice. So what else is going on? Oh, speaking of breweries and stuff, distilleries, a little bit different. Speaking of coming into the new year, a lot of distilleries around the country. I know this isn't an article. I didn't bother saving it because, I put it on as a show note. I didn't save it as an article because I still have a ton of old ones to get through here, which we will. But I guess kind of early on in the pandemic, everybody remembers that there was a massive run on just on toilet paper and hand sanitizer, which I remember there was an article of some kid in Texas got, I guess, took all of his money and bought all of the hand sanitizer all over town, just cleared out a bunch of places, which I don't know why the stores even let him do this. It must have been a lot of money or something like that, and he hoarded it all in his garage and tried to basically flip it all. Right, well, he got arrested by the police and had to give it, or not so much arrested, but like fined, I guess, and had to give everything away or something like that. So he basically wasted a bunch of money being an asshole, which is what should happen, right? And it wasn't exactly asset forfeiture either. It's more like the king being the Robin Hood in this case. No one likes anybody like that anyway. Just a fucking hoarder. Although I guess if he was on Hoarders, he'd have to clean his house. Or at least to clean his hands anyway. But anyways, so this happened. And the distilleries in, like I said, all over the US, especially like smaller ones. And the thing is, well, there's a lot of, in cities, obviously, like, it's easy to get, you can get anything, right? But you go into, like, smaller towns, like, even smaller than what I grew up in, but still kind of the same thing. A lot of things you don't really have access to. Like hand sanitizer, I guess, for instance. So if supplies run low, you're just kind of fucked. So a lot of distilleries, what they did was they switched up parts of their manufacturing process to, instead of refining alcohol into a drinkable version or something like that, they just changed the process so that their alcohol could be it would be a little bit less refined. So you can't eat hand sanitizer, obviously, everybody knows this, but they would refine it a little bit less to the level that would be needed to with sanitization gel, and sold it that way, and really helped like a lot of smaller communities with stuff, even though at least as far as COVID stuff is concerned, physical contact isn't even like one of the main methods for pathogenic spread. I guess, I don't know, I'm just throwing words at you. But it's not as much of a concern, but, anytime somebody's a hypochondriac or something like that, or with this, it's all just, with, disease, hysteria, or whatever, people will try and get sanitizer all the time. So, yeah, they did a good service. Well, a lot of them, their 2021 ended with a bit of a shock, because apparently the FDA went ahead and sent out, there's a lot of fees with making your stuff FDA rated. So there were a lot of distilleries that were suddenly just kind of got slipped a $14,000 bill under the radar or whatever. So a lot of them were dealing with this, but since I put this down in my notes, there is some good news. Apparently, the chief health director, I guess, completely waived those bills for distilleries, or fees, I should say. So they don't have to worry about that, which is good, because they were trying to help. They were doing a charitable cause, and apparently the official wording behind like why he went ahead, he or she, I don't know off the top of my head, why they went ahead and canceled it, is because the fee. Well, first of all, they didn't actually. Apparently, the fee, not bill. What's the notification? Include official language that could only be issued by someone in his or her or a relevant position. So this was like an automatic thing that was put out, and it wasn't really whatchamacallit. It wasn't, because the whole thing wasn't even done through regular FDA channels or whatever. So he was basically like, I didn't authorize this. All right, just forget it. You guys are fine. So, happy story. At least one happy story in the new year. God, this stuff really is pretty good. Here, let me put it away for a second. I'm cluttered. Here, I'll put that there. It's empty. Let's get some more drags going on this thing, shall I? Oh, yeah. I'm really getting better at this, I think. I would like to think I'm getting better at a lot of things, which, hopefully I'm not the only one who's done in the pandemic. Oh. But I do have a bit of a rough throat, which sucks because I can't. I know I've said a lot of times that, like, if I could have been like a metal singer or growler or whatever, my life would be very different from what it is today. I'd be doing that instead, probably. You wouldn't be hearing me at, well, maybe you would be hearing me on here. But the thing is, like, anytime I really kind of force my vocal cords or throat or whatever and really get going like that, they start to tickle and, kind of, like, tickle, tingle, and get, like, really scratchy, and then I start coughing. I can't do it, like, I can't, something like that, like, already, right there. I was feeling that. I don't know. It's my first world problems, I guess. Let's see, what else? What's going on? Oh God, yeah. Speaking of, I'm not the kind of person to do resolutions, like New Year's resolutions. Oh fuck, that one burned a little bit, but. Well, I did kind of come up with resolution the other day, or this last weekend when I was working. I realized that I haven't been to the St. Patties Day block party downtown in DTLA here in 9 years. I went the one time with my old roommates back in the first year when we had just moved out here. And this was like a couple months before we moved out of our first apartment and into the house that I'm in now, actually. So this was the beginning of 2012, because St. Patty's Day is in March. And I haven't been back since, because like every time, because I wasn't as inclined to go things on my own, and well, my roommates or whatever, and friends or whatever, it was always like, oh, it's in the middle of the week, or, oh, I gotta work. Well, not this time. This time, that's my resolution for maybe not so much 2021, but like going into the future is the next time they manage to get that thing up and running, I'm fucking going. No excuses. I did check, 2022 is on a Thursday, is St. Patty's Day, so yeah, that might be a bit of a problem, but just plan in advance, take a day off, and well, hopefully this will be doing a little bit better. Hopefully I'll be able to do the stand-up thing actually too, so we'll see. Gonna leave that thing there, but yeah, basically they take off a chunk, or they got like a whole street block around, it's between the 7th Street Metro Center and kind of like the old town district of downtown. And they close off like the whole street block or whatever, and they were having like concerts and stuff like that, a bunch of merch booths, like a festival. And then they have and beer booths, and the whole thing is put on by Caseysirishpub downtown. which is also kind of cool. It's like one of those bars that's like kind of on a lower underground level of a building, so you actually go down some steps. And it's a big Irish. It was a big Irish pub, a bunch of whatchamacallit. Yeah, it's like all kind of rustic-ish wooden furniture. I guess the word is. Let me get my beer back, actually. Speaking of Irish. Or, well, speaking of pubs, I should say. No, that wasn't fair. But, yeah. So I've only been there twice. Which is a bit of a crime, because the first time I was at Casey's and the block party was back in 2012, and then the last time I was at Casey's was 2 or 3 years after that, when I had 3 or 4. No, 2 or 3. First time I had jury duty out here, which I actually got lucky with. I went. It was at some smaller court downtown. It wasn't the big one, like the one where I did my actual jury duty at much later. But yeah, the first time I went and did jury duty, that was back when I was still taking the subway everywhere. I went went to the courthouse around 9 in the morning, and I got lucky because I didn't actually end up getting picked for a case, so I ended up being let out around 3 in the afternoon, and Casey's was on my way back to the metro station, so I went there then, had some hot wings and some beer, celebrate a sort of a wasted, but also a day that, didn't have to continue, because I did have to do actual jury duty some years later, and I ended up having to stay for like a week, I think, or coming back for a week. And that was also before I had to do my my last studio job, my last visual effects studio job that I've had. So I had to do jury duty for about a week, but I didn't have anything else going on at the time, so, it was fine. But then I feel bad because I know one of my, I heard later around the same time, one of my old bosses, sort of, one of my old producers, I should say, which is like the overall head, which in a visual effects studio is like the person who oversees a project in this case. So one of my old producers, he had jury duty, but he got put on a grand jury, which means he had to go. He had to go back for like a month in business days. So, good 4 weeks, I guess he was gone until the end of this thing. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and it was especially bad because he was literally on the last month of a movie that he was working on or producing, which means that everything is just all time crunch. So he had to, but then he had to go and do jury duty, and was pretty much gone the whole time. So it was literally just at the absolute worst time to go. And I don't think he was so much like forced to go, because you have, whenever you go to do jury duty and sign in, everything, you don't know what you're going to end up on. They literally just randomly pick names for each case that's starting that week until they run out of time, basically, that day. And if you don't end up getting picked, you don't have to go. So I would imagine he probably went there thinking, there's a good chance that I might not get picked, or at the very least, like, it'll only last, a week max. But no, he got screwed that time. And in a way, I also kind of got screwed because when I did mine, so everybody knows that a jury consists of 12 people. Officially. But technically, a jury actually consists of 14 people, because you have the 12 sitting out there, and then you have two adjacent jurors, which I ended up being the 14th pick. Unfortunately, I wasn't happy about that, but so I had to sit in the adjacent, or fuck, I don't remember what it's called. It wasn't adjacent jury. It was something like adjuncts. No, I don't think that's the word. But yeah, So the idea is that these two jury members were there in case one of the other ones had an emergency or went missing, or something happens, right? They would still have two more that could fill in, and they had to sit there and listen to the entire case. So I had to be there for all of that. But then we weren't part of the actual deliberation, since we weren't the primary jurors. However, we still had to be at the courthouse, just in case something happens. And I don't know if you ever been to a courthouse in the courtroom halls, but they aren't. All they have is wooden benches. I literally spent because the case I was on went into deliberation around lunchtime on the Thursday. And so I literally spent a day and a half just hanging out on a wooden bench. I think I got through 2 books of reading, but I had nothing to do with what was going on inside. And I still don't even know what the outcome case I was on. It was literally just some kid kind of down in sort of Inglewood area, I want to say, closer to the beach, but southern LA. He just got caught carrying a gun in his backpack, and they got pulled over, just a random stop or whatever, or did something like that. I don't know, but I don't know what happened, right? At least in the case, and I never bothered looking up because once I'm kind of done with something, I'm done with it. I don't keep up with things like that. But more importantly, I'm going to the fucking St. Patty's Day block party whenever it's back up and running. Alright, hold on a second. Pause real quick. It's true what they say about pretty much every video on YouTube. Whether it be, don't read the comments. Whether you be scrolling through your, favorite video, your favorite show, podcast, whatever. All you see as you're looking through is, things like, oh, why do they talk about this? Why do they talk about that? I don't like this guest. I don't like that host. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Well, to which I say, get your own show. And now, with Buzzsprout, you can. It's that easy. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides hosting not only on their own site, but also on pretty much every other podcast platform out there. Every single major one. Get yourself listed in iTunes, Pandora, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. I'm on all of these with this podcast, as a matter of fact. And Buzzsprout, it provides a bunch of other services too. Not only just hosting, but indefinite hosting. So whatever you put on there, if you have a subscription, it's there until the end of time, or at least until the power goes out. Buzzsprout also provides you with avenues of monetization, be it through affiliate programs, kind of like this, and also through Podcorn, which is a sponsorship portal. where you can go on and provide your submit your proposals and, hopefully get money that way. And a new feature that Buzzsprout has is magic mastering, which is a auto leveling you can apply to your audio files as they go into the service, and it'll help you get all the little clicks and the pops out of here, which I know I have going on in mine still. And it's also helpful for situations where you have more than one person, or maybe you're doing a show over Zoom or what have you. Magic mastering helps with that. And if you're listening to my show, if you go to the bottom of the show notes and use my link, you can start a subscription with Buzzsprout today. Furthermore, if you're using my link, you will also get you will get an Amazon gift card after your second billing period. So, I win, you win, everybody wins. I'd say, if you got something to say, go ahead and say it. Use Buzzsprout, get your own podcast today. Alright, I'm back. I'm relieved. Peed. I got sick of the Santa hat. I got rid of that. So if you like that, I'm sorry, but I don't care. And I still got my beer here. What was this shit again? My Operation Flintlock. Caramel marshmallow stout. Yum yum. It's basically like a s'mores in your mouth. But not really. So, as always, we've got some post-apocalypse to go through. Let me just go ahead and pull a few of these up. Here's a fun one for some of you conspiracy nuts out there. Flat Earthers are planning an Antarctic expedition to the edge of the world. So, if you're for some reason not aware, in Flat Earth, they believe that Antarctica, or whichever is the one down south, is actually the edge of the world, and that we are somehow encased within, or not encased, but like trapped within this area, kind of like a bigger version of the Dark City. I don't know if you ever saw that movie. Just kind of a similar, like, flat Earth / simulation theory sort of thing going on. But yeah. So they believe that the Antarctica is actually just a giant wall of ice that surrounds us, our plane, our flat plane. Even though, like, if you went to the Antarctic, and I mean there's walls of ice kind of like all around that landmass, because, I mean, it snows, it gets built up, and then kind of parts break off after a while, and basically just leaving an ice cliff. But maybe it's going to be less now, actually, because of global warming. But whatever. So apparently some flat earthers want to get in a boat and go down and check it out and prove to everybody that what they say is essentially. Of course, I don't know how they're going to do that, because the last time that a bunch of flat earthers tried to get together, they basically all just got into a fight and disbanded. So we'll see what happens. Besides, all this is gonna get all that shit's gonna get disproved when Tom Cruise finally goes up into space. It's like, look, not flat, it's round. Of course, then they'll just be like, well, what does a Scientologist know? They're the enemy anyway. And I kind of agree with that. But next up, okay, this is a little old. MAGA marchers and Proud Boys descend on D.C., setting fires to churches, Black Lives Matter signs, and getting into stabbing fights. So yeah, they've been running wild in D.C., basically doing all the things that they said that Black Lives Matter people and anti-police people were gonna do. You know, they became what they were afraid of and what they hated. Naturally. I mean, sometimes these are the kind of people, like, you ever like see someone like, haven't you ever seen a movie? Haven't you ever read a book? Like, what did you think what was gonna happen? And you're literally like following to a T. You're repeating history, repeating mistakes. But so yeah, bunch of Proud Boys got kind of wild over in DC after the elections and stuff like that. So this is a little bit old, but what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, there was some more recent good news since this has come out. Is their leader actually got arrested for vandalism, I believe, the other day. So something good, I guess, at least. Let's see. As much as this article is cool, it does not fit. All right, next up. Sinister sounds. Podcasts are becoming the new medium of misinformation. Well, I guess I apologize, because here we are. But honestly, like, if you... it's... Shit. No. That in a word, no. If you... Because the point is that, you know, podcasts are like people. Everybody's different. In many cases, such as this one, they're for entertainment, right? And they should rightfully state so. Most, especially with comedians, you know, they say flat out, like, this is entertainment. This isn't, you know, factual facts stuff. And even whenever we have people coming on to, like if I had a guest who was, you know, I guess an expert in certain things, that's still, it's still, I mean, it's informational, but it's still entertainment, right? Whereas, you know, some other podcasts are actual, like, information first. So, I mean, the problem is that, you know, to be honest, people are stupid, right? So, obviously, there's a lot of people who can't, you know, figure out the difference. Unfortunately, and then they, you know, go and complain and ruin it for everybody else. So that's my take on that. I guess I'm misinformation then. Let's see. Democrats make demands for 126 House members not to be seated for the next Congress. So what is that about? That has to do with the fact that after the current election, there was a bunch of Republicans in the House, namely 106, I believe. What do you know? Who they tried to petition to void Biden's winning the presidency. Except the thing is like, a lot of these people, they won their own seats around the same time using the same voting system. So, you know, if they're going to void the president, then they might as well void their own. They should step out. Right? So that's what they're saying. It's, you know, it's hypocrisy, and it's just, you know, skullduggery and fuckery, as they say. And fuckery shouldn't be rewarded. Shit. Blunt's doing good. Rewarded. That's about as close. That's all you're gonna get. All right. These are all ones today. This one's interesting. U.S. Supreme Court rules half of Oklahoma is Native American land. That's gotta be rustling some jimmies. out there. I'd be surprised if they don't do this with more states. Like, my home state could very easily be. They could very easily say, like, hey, 75% of this is actually Native American land. So, see ya. But that would be kind of a problem with a lot of the towns and stuff, because everything would have to change. So, I don't know. But I'm actually interested to see what happens after, once like that starts to take effect legally. I guess, it'd be interesting to see, I think. Next up, let's make this one the last one. Boomers are showing worse cognitive decline than previous generations. This one I will try and get into a little bit more. This is, baby boomers in the U.S. are showing a steeper decline in cognitive function compared to previous generations, according to a new study. Let's see. So I guess they're saying that this is mainly involving like people being born, basically between 1950 and 1960, kind of in that range. They have led easier lives with more education, better health care, better job prospects than generations before them. But apparently, where was it? I'm trying to find the actual description, and also one thing that they note is that this doesn't affect, or there's no difference. It's only by age, right, that this is happening. It doesn't, this crosses gender and race lines, so it's just equal across everybody of this age group. And apparently, what was it? You know what? This is taking too long to find, so go look at it yourself. I'm linking it, as always. I always put the articles up for you guys to look up on your own. And, if you're a boomer, I guess, watch out. Keep your brain sharp. Let's see. Yeah, I'll leave that last note for another time. That's pretty much it for this week. I think that blunted me a little bit, but what do you do, right? That's it for this week. It's another episode of the Jankity Ass Podcast in the books, number 39. Thank you for watching. If you like this, if you are watching, like and subscribe to this podcast or on my channel, Multi-Murdy Media. You get this podcast, of course, the Jankity Ass Podcast. If you like listening to the podcast, you can find it anywhere you get podcasts now, every major platform. And then, of course, if you want to keep updated with me and, my work, go to Multi-Murdy Media on either Instagram or Facebook. I got pages everywhere, so check them out to get the latest news and more updates for when shows, more or less drop, or at least when I push it. And, if you want to support the shows in different ways, if you go down to my, all my links, all my pages link, you will find a couple of Amazon wish lists on there. One is my music list. That is all, CDs that I want. Obviously I want them, but also want to try and promote, even though a lot of times they're older ones. So, grab a CD off the show or off the list that directly supports this show. And if you go into my other Amazon wish list, is the Warhammer list that supports my hobby show. It's basically just a bunch of just it's like all the 40K or all the Warhammer models, pretty much, like a lot of Games Workshop stuff. But in both cases, well, in that case with the models, if you get a model for the show, then I'll paint it up and display it for you. And in both cases, if you get something off the list, you get a shout out, and maybe I'll promote something of yours too, depending on which it is. If you're just like some regular ass dude who works a job, doesn't really have anything to promote, you get a shout out at least, right? But we'll see. Anyways, either way, keep drinking the beer, keep smoking if it's legal. Stay tuned, and I will see you guys all next week.